Hello and welcome to the Morning Watch on Love 101 FM. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. A special welcome to our listeners on love101.org, and if you're overseas and on the move, US listeners can access us at 712-832-8001. And if you're in the UK, 0330-332-6541. Or join us via the Love 101 FM app that can be downloaded from the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. You can also join us on Love 101 FM Facebook and YouTube Live. In the first watch today, is there any wise counsel for the new commissioner? And in the second watch, concerns about non-gender specific references within the JCF. For our social media question, we ask, what wise counsel do you have for the new JCF commissioner? We're asking you to share your responses on our Love 101 FM Facebook page and YouTube channel, and also on WhatsApp 876-997-3125 using the hashtag The Morning Watch. We'll share your responses later on in the program, but before all of that, here's our quote.
Well, our quote for today is, confusion comes when you're trying to convince your head of something your heart knows is a lie. And that is from Karen Marie Moaning.
Good morning, Kareem.
Good morning, Sir Toussaint. How are you?
I'm doing well, you know. And how are you managing with this waking up earlier than usual in the morning too?
Listen, I'm trying my hardest. I'm waiting for Jukal to come back.
You ever feel sleepy yet, Kareem?
Listen, I'm so tired, but we move.
And I just had a good weekend. It was a longer weekend than usual.
Yes, I was pretty busy over the weekend, doing some freelance work, but it was a beautiful weekend.
And you went to Jerusalem, even though there's a lot of crisis and tension in the Middle East.
Yes, I went. I was actually there doing some freelance work.
Okay.
But it was a good lineup. It was a good show.
It was good. Okay, great. We're looking forward to a good show this morning.
Yes, for sure.
Yes, the Morning Watch will return in just a moment.
Farmers and fisherfolk, Sagicor Agricare plan is for you. Life, health, and critical illness coverage for as little as $675 every 3 months. The time by Sagicor Agricare is
7:03 a.m.
Hey everybody, it's time for Small People with Auntie Vashti. That's right, it's the Small People Show with me, Auntie Vashti, every Monday to Friday at 4:30 p.m. Listen up, children, this is our time, and every day we want you in on the great things we are doing inside the Small People Show. We come to have fun. We come to help you through those rough days. We're educational, inspirational, and the Small People Show with Auntie Vashti is taking over the nation. Every child must know that they are special because God created you special. That's the Small People Show with me, Auntie Vashti, Monday to Friday at 4:30 p.m. It's on the family station, Love 101.
Now, with inspiration now, and every afternoon, Small People.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Now, on Tuesday, March 19 of this year, Dr. Kevin Blake became Jamaica's new police commissioner. Now, he's not doing interviews quite yet. But so, in the meantime, we have some concerns, questions, and suggestions, and even ideas for him. And in that regard, we have online Major Robert Finzi-Smith, security consultant, and the Reverend Dr. Ralston Nemard, Anglican priest, writer, columnist, and author. Good morning to you both.
Morning.
Good morning, Dylan, and good morning to your listeners and to my fellow guests.
Great. Morning. Morning, Major.
Morning, sir.
Great. Good to have you both with us. Now, gentlemen, Before you share your wise words of counsel for the new commissioner, apart from the obvious, what are some of the similarities and differences between him and the former commissioner, would you say? Beginning with you, Major Finzi Smith.
Well, the former commissioner had military background.
Mm,
Mr. Blake, Dr. Blake does not share that. Dr. Blake is very technically inclined in terms of all of the technical solutions that one would imagine you want to embark on. I think he's more than qualified to spearhead that and has done so in the past in his capacity.
More technically inclined, you said?
Yes, he is very technologically inclined
Okay.
and led, I'm told, sections of the force in the transformation process. So it
Okay.
will be a continuation of whatever was started
Yes.
with his own input at a certain stage, I suppose.
Yes. So military background that the former commissioner had, he doesn't have that necessarily. Saying he's more technically inclined than the former commissioner.
I would say so, yes.
Okay. Reverend Nemhard, what's your take on that? How do you differentiate these two gentlemen?
Well, certainly I said ditto to all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Just to say that, well, he just got the job, so we haven't seen him in a functional capacity yet in terms of the commissioner to make the distinction between how he may operate, what, new directions he may take. But the technological knowledge, that he has and that he used to a great extent to help, the former commissioner in getting his work done, in bringing the force to a certain level of transformation. I think he's going to continue that. That seems to be his forte. And one would expect that he would continue along that vein. But there's not a great deal to see just yet.
Okay.
He's saying the right things. At this inaugural, when he got the job, he said the right things in terms of the direction he'd want to take the force. But we'll see.
Yes. All right. Major Finzi Smith, you mentioned a while ago the military background of the former commissioner. How significant is that fact where in terms of our new commissioner going forward, that he didn't have that, but the former commissioner did? Is there any significance behind that?
Well, there's some who would say that the former commissioner almost militarized the force, which is, in some people's estimation, desirable, and in other people's estimation, it kind of sits badly on the image of a peace officer. When you have squads that are aggressive and very military in attitude and almost dress and weaponry, it's not going to sit well with any community policing that you may have left on the shelf. So we have to decide, how do we want to approach this? With persuasion or a sledgehammer? And I think time has spoken for itself that we're not quite over the hill in terms of attacking the crime problem. And I am, I suppose, alone in this, that I believe it is not a case of crime created out of necessity. I believe we have morphed into a situation where people have become almost professional criminals. And how you approach them has to be a little different from what they expect you to do.
Was the military approach an advantage, would you say? If it became, you mentioned, almost militarized, would that have been an advantage or disadvantage?
The jury is out on that one. The jury is out on that one.
Okay. Reverend Nemhard, what's your take on that?
Yes, I was and have written quite a bit about the application of the states of emergency as a way of fighting crime. I've never been comfortable with it, and both from a constitutional point of view, but tying into what Finzi is saying there about the militarization of the force, and the extent to which, and there's no commissioner, to my knowledge, under whose watch we have had more states of emergencies deployed as a crime fighting tool than under Major Anthony Anderson. And if there's, from my point of view, a criticism that could be offered to him, in terms of his tenure, that is one aspect of it, and that tie into the militarization aspect that is being adduced.
But did the murder rate go down on average over his tenure?
Well, you suppress, when you use states of emergency like that, yes, of course, you will have certain, at the beginning, you'll have a suppression of crime. But what do you have? You have the guys migrating, the crime producers migrating to other parts of the country. But on a sustained basis, you cannot use that as a crime fighting tool, even though you can argue that, it kept down murders at a particular point. But how often are you going to use that as a tool to fight crime? And that is one big criticism I have of the former commissioner.
Having said that, Reverend Nemard, what then would you say to or suggest to Dr. Blake going forward? Because if the states of emergency were utilized, you are not comfortable with it, even though the figures for murder have been down. What would you say to Dr. Blake going forward then?
Well, you see, Dr. Blake's hands are tied in the sense that in terms of legislation, there's the emergencies, I think ESMA, something like that, some emergency legislation that was going through Parliament that has been stymied, that could fulfill some of the same functions of the states of emergency functions that are being deployed. The government will need to look at that legislation again and really get it going so that they can give the police the necessary support that they will need in these emergency situations. And I would, Dr. Blake sounds like I said, we haven't seen him in operation, but he sounds like the kind of person who will more concentrate on looking at the whole matter of community policing and bringing a softer approach than what is being adduced as the military approaches that you see coming, especially out of the states of emergencies. Too many of them. That wasn't the intention of states of emergency in the Constitution. That was never the intention. The intention was to have as few of them as possible as they are needed. But ever so often we hear about states of emergency until they become a thing so common that they lose their effect.
Yeah. Major, your take on that?
I think I am in agreement. Well, I don't think I know. I'm in agreement with the Reverend. The utilization of something after a while, even if it's a drug that you're administered to a disease,
Right.
the body after a while becomes immune to it.
Okay.
The effect of a state of emergency as conceived is nullified by continuous use of it. It removes the shock and awe of the tactic. The other side of it is,
I'm so sorry, Major. I don't want to shock and awe the program. We're up on a break. Could we just hold that thought? We'll be right back.
Aculab Diagnostics Limited, located at ATL Plaza in Montego Bay, for all your blood testing needs. Open every day, including Sundays, 6132714.
The time by Aculab Diagnostics Limited is
7:15 a.m.
If you're a farmer or a fisher folk, this one's for you. Sagicor AgriCare Plan. With AgriCare Plan, you can get affordable insurance coverage for you and your family. Life insurance, critical illness coverage, or health insurance for as little as $1,700 every 3 months. Visit SagicorAgriCare.com to learn more. Farmers and fisher folk, get the insurance coverage your family deserves today with Sagicor AgriCare Plan.
Truth is, HIV affects everyone. Truth is, avoiding care leads to a weaker immune system. That means you could get really sick. The truth is, the hardest pill to swallow isn't the medication. It's the problems that follow when you don't take them. Let's get through this together. Remain in care. You can live life to the fullest with HIV. And that's the truth. A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Here is your opportunity to connect with someone who will listen, pray, and give guidance. It's the Ministry of Counseling and Prayer of the Edgewater Baptist Church. Please call 876-220-6474 or 876-332-7956. Weekdays between 8 a.m. and 9 p.m. Saturdays and Sundays between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Please talk to someone if you're finding it particularly challenging to cope during this period of crisis. Someone is waiting for your call. Please reach out today, 876-220-6474 or 876-332-7956. It's the telephone counseling and prayer ministry of the Edgewater Baptist Church. A reminder that somebody cares. Endorsed by Love 101.
When I come to the end of myself, Father, carry me.
Listeners to Love 101 FM are advised that the views and opinions expressed in this program are not necessarily those of Love 101 FM.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. And in this, the first watch, we have been asking the question, is there any wise counsel for the new commissioner? In so doing, we have online the Reverend Dr. Ralston Memmer, an Anglican priest, writer, columnist, and author, as well as Major Robert Finzi-Smith, security consultant. Before the break, we were hearing from Major Finzi-Smith as he was telling us about his views on the whole matter of the transition from the former commissioner to the new commissioner, what needs to be done. Please continue.
Yes, you dull people's reaction to a methodology you want to curtail things. First, I said it over and over. I don't think a lot of people in certain places are in love with me over it. But we have turned the military almost into policemen in green. And we turn the police into soldiers in blue. So there's a line you can't. When in my days of active service, we had a state of emergency. It was island-wide. But anytime a lorry or jeeps or anything rolled out of what was then Cotton Tree Gate of Park Cap, there was a palpable difference in whatever community they headed for. You know, people just didn't play. Soldiers were on the way.
So you're in essence saying, along with Reverend so far, that Dr. Blake should seek not to have that many states of emergency in his tenure?
I am saying, and this again, I'm not throwing words at anyone. I'm just telling that I see it. Our policing needs to be more driven by intelligence, both in the meaning utilized for information and the other one having some form of intellectual acumen. You can't keep going into new places, communities, and scraping up everybody. There are people in that community, believe it or not, who do not necessarily agree or participate in the activities you're trying to curtail.
Mhm.
And they avoid it as best as they can, given the circumstances. You scrape up all of these, and one of the little dons sitting in the place with them. And I say little dons because I've heard very rare occasions in which the person who is the main influencer ends up in this kind of dragnet. And he said, "You remember when they asked you for the source of money?" And I said, "Nah, you don't want to get involved." Well, you know, see the two we in the same cell. You're involved now. You know, staying away from me. What did it do you? So we create in the lockup and detention areas little universities in crime and a resentment that I didn't do anything, but your system of handling the problem has placed me in here. I'm not inclined to give you any information after that. As a matter of fact, the guy I used to tell no, I'll go search him out. Because if I'm going to get locked up, I might as well make money out of it.
But Major, wouldn't within the tenure of or the former commissioner, intelligence, wouldn't that have been up front and center in terms of how things were done?
I would have hoped so, but let me ask you a question. Based on the prevalence of certain behavior patterns, what kind of effect do you think whatever was done in that regard has had? Again, I don't want to be. I'll make sure that I like the fact you put a disclaimer. That's save you from people like. I've heard a situation where I keep hearing this statement. They say liars figure, but figures don't lie. Put that together with a situation I had once where I saw an accountant and jokingly said to him, "How much is 1 and 1?" So patting an eyelid, he said, "How much do you want it to be?"
Was it mentioned figures though, Major? As I was saying to Reverend, the murder rate over the tenure of the former commissioner has seemingly gone down.
I like the fact they use the word seemingly.
Okay.
To the families who lost people, some of whom have not been reported, you can't convince them of that.
Okay. Reverend Lemon?
And I was just going to say, in terms of the murder statistics, we have to be careful that we do not see marginal decreases, from time to time in murders as something that one has to necessarily rejoice at when you look at the wider picture and the deeper picture of the murderous situation in the country. Sometimes it comes as a kind of facade that covers up the real situation. We're thankful there may be less people dying per year, of course, but we have to be very careful that it does not become a kind of facade that hides the true picture. If I were to give the new commissioner any advice at all, I would tell him to concentrate on strengthening community policing.
And what does that mean, Reverend Lemon? In essence, what does that mean?
Community policing.
Is that what they're doing?
Community policing. All crime is local, like all politics. And you have to get into the communities and work with the stakeholders within the communities and let the people feel that they are a part and important stakeholders in the fight against crime. I mean, we have the zones, for example, that have been applied, but they have not been really effective because they have not really functioned to engage the community, the churches, the schools, other NGO groups and so on within the communities and the citizens themselves to let them feel that they're a part of the whole process. And one of the things that has to happen is that the government has to, it's a multi-pronged thing. It's one thing to expect the commissioner to do a number of things, but his hands are tied in many ways unless he gets the resources from the central government, and I would say even local government, to really concentrate his work assist his work in the community, like training, for example, a cadre of social workers that you can deploy in the community to help in terms of settling conflicts and all that sort of thing. Counseling. You have a problem. The Prime Minister spoke some time ago about engaging the churches in this endeavor. What has come of that? These are the things that have to be done. Strengthen community policing in terms of engaging the stakeholders within the community to assist you. If people feel that they're a part of something, they'll more easily give you information, which is what you need in terms of intelligence gathering.
Exactly.
Is there a place for a peace management initiative?
Most definitely.
That would be helpful, of course. That was a good idea. I don't know why they have diminished the emphasis on that.
I am sorry to interrupt. I am still in awe of the fact that we are trying to reinvent the wheel.
Right.
All the things that are needed to be done have been done and curtailed either by lack of funding or distrust or political interference.
Or misuse of the funding.
Or
because so
misuse
much
of the
money has been
funding.
thrown. Yes, so much money. Even the minister himself, sorry, Finzi, even the minister himself admitted the other day that the amount of money that has been spent on these social programs, they haven't seen the benefits of it. And I don't see that anything has been done to really cauterize that.
He's including the peace management initiative in that, would he not?
Yeah.
All right, let me just quickly.
What I'm going to do if these things have been tried and done and dusted, and then I work.
No, they weren't tried. They were implemented and not supported.
Oh.
Somebody said something to me in a very tongue-in-cheek way that there are certain initiatives that money is poured into, but people are not inclined to keep it going because they can't find a way to siphon some of it off. Now, here is what I'm putting forward. I don't consider it wise counsel, but it's just, there are two things in life: history and his story. History has determined that there was an opportunity to try and do something that would make the morale of the force rise and people's trust for it increase. But we had a ex-military gentleman running the force some time ago, who, in my humble opinion, speaking not ill of the dead, may have created the downward slide that we're currently mentally on. You took police officers who knew the streets, who knew the people, who knew the history, who knew exactly where to go. If you lost a radio out of your car, the person said, "Go down to Miss Mays' son, tell him I need to see him." Sent them to a place called Never Never Land. Took almost decades combined of policing knowledge. Put them behind desks and put youngsters on the street who walk straight past criminals that they should know. It's like, my analogy may be unfortunate, but if you have cockroaches in your kitchen, and once upon a time when you turn on the light, they'd scuttle for cover. There can reach a stage where the infestation or your lack of their hiding place is that when you turn on the light, they ask you if you're not going to the supermarket.
And you won't have enough bacon to catch it.
Exactly.
Let me see. Gentlemen, what we're going to do, we need some bacon to catch.
Right.
This crime problem, though. Seriously. Eh?
No, but we're on the edge of a precipice, in my humble opinion.
Yeah.
Everybody's getting up about Haiti. Have you been there?
No, not me.
I have.
Yeah,
And I'm telling you that the history of Haiti and this current situation, we're jumped on the track. The thing where every now and then somebody pop up and use a gun and tell a man, say, you have to pay me money weekly and this type of thing, extortion. Which, by the way, was initially put in by businessmen who never want go to the for problem. Make sure my store don't get robbed or anything and I pay you monthly. Then it's like getting a pit bull. And the color you have is too small for him, so you don't have no way to control him anymore.
Major. So sorry, we're totally out of time. Thank you, both gentlemen, for joining us. Interesting discussion. And we hope and pray that we will see better days going forward in our country. Thanks for joining us.
Okay, my brother. Hope pleasure.
Great. Listeners, we'll return in just a moment.
The time by Jan Bank is
7:31 a.m.
The best dressed chicken fun in the sun is back. Bring the entire family for a free gospel celebration with activities for kids, health fair, job opportunities, BMX showcase while enjoying delicious food from the best dressed chicken. Enjoy performances from international sensations Kirk Franklin and Toby Mac, local gospel giants Kevin Downswell, Jermaine Edwards, Harleen Davis, evangelist Andrew Palau, and many more. Head to the National Stadium Saturday, April 20, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. The best dressed chicken fun in the sun. See you there.
Mama work hard, for real. She do the most to send me and my brother go school. So, the dream was always to go to university. Well, I fulfilled 2 dreams with 1 Jane Bank savings plan, you know. I further my education and I make mama proud.
Save so you can make the part, travel far, graduate like a star.
Stop wishing you could. With your Jan Bank savings, you absolutely can. Jan Bank will help you find a way.
That's right, it's the Small People Show with me, Auntie Vashti, every Monday to Friday at 4:30 p.m. Listen up, children, this is our time, and every day we want you in on the great things we are doing inside the Small People Show. We come to have fun, we come to help you through those rough days. We're educational, inspirational, and the Small People Show with Auntie Vashti is taking over the nation. Every child must know that they are special because God created you special. That's the Small People Show with me, Auntie Vashti. Monday to Friday at 4:30 p.m. It's on the family station, Love 101.
We inspiration now, and every afternoon, small people.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Let's now look at the newspapers to see what Jamaicans and others are saying and doing in the Gleaner. Google to purge billions of files containing personal data in settlement of Chrome privacy case. Also, betrayed. Former Police Federation chairman accuses executive of colluding with high command to have him replaced. In Luke News, Council of Churches urges for fairness in Easter message. And Jamaica secure 38th consecutive Carifta Games title. And then finally in the Observer, no new info in Gabriel King case, says cop. Worst trip ever. Okay. So those are some of the major stories in our newspapers. Coming up next, we'll read some of the feedback from our social media question. What wise counsel do you have for the new JCF commissioner? What wise counsel do you have for the new JCF commissioner? We're asking you to leave a comment on our Facebook page and YouTube channel, Love 101 FM Jamaica, or WhatsApp 876-997-3125. We'll be right back.
Here is your opportunity to connect with someone who will listen, pray, and give guidance. It's the Ministry of Counseling and Prayer of the Edgewater Baptist Church. Please call 876-220-6474 or 876-332-7956. Weekdays between 8 a.m. and 9 p.m. Saturdays and Sundays between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Please talk to someone if you're finding it particularly challenging to cope during this period of crisis. Someone is waiting for your call. Please reach out today. 876-220-6474 or 876-332-7956. It's the telephone counseling and prayer ministry of the Edgewater Baptist Church. A reminder that somebody cares. Endorsed by Love 101.
When I come to the end of myself, Father, carry me.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Let's now join Kareem for a look at how our Facebook, YouTube, and WhatsApp friends answered today's question. What wise counsel do you have for the new JCF commissioner? Kareem?
All right, let's go into it. We have quite a bit of comments this morning. This one from Carol says, good morning. Please tell the police chief to do his job and don't let all the politicians interfere. My prayers are with him. Monica says, be fair and fearless in the pursuit of ensuring law and order is maintained to make Jamaica a just society. So go and serve, protect, and reassure. We expect nothing less. Also, weed out the corrupt cops in the force. You all know who they are. Make it mandatory that police wear body cameras and bring disciplinary action for those who don't. This one says, I wish the commissioners to be like the good Mr. Macmillan. Okay. This other one says, my counsel to the new JCF commissioner is to seek the Most High, as this is no easy task. With all his capabilities, it is an impossible task in his own strength. But with the strength of the Most High, all things are possible. This one also says, seek God and acknowledge God in all his ways. Although he is technologically inclined, do not depend on his own ability, but depend on God. This one is saying, no example is being set by the ones who represent and who are in authority, just pure smoke and fire. Society now have no trust and respect in policing because they are corrupt too. Okay, I don't know if this is necessarily counsel. Yeah, that's about it. I'm not seeing any on Facebook, but those are from our WhatsApp line for the police commissioner. Yes, I'm looking because I think there was one more. And yeah, no, that's it. That's it.
Okay. All right. Quite a mouthful there. Thank you,
Yes.
Kareem, and thanks to
No
those who responded. Don't let the politicians interfere. Wear body cameras, and above all, seek God in all ways. We really appreciate the comments. Now, we're going to segue into the second watch, and of course, we're focusing on the JCF this morning. We're looking on the commissioner a while ago. Now we're looking on gender issues. Now, some commend, while others condemn the move by the JCF to abolish titles such as woman constable in favor of simply constable. For some, it is really a non-issue, as constables are the only ones whose gender is identified. There are no woman superintendents or woman assistant commissioners, etc. However, there are those who seemingly believe that there is a hidden agenda behind and beyond this gender issue. So, what is the appropriate response in this regard? Well, to answer This and other related questions, we have joined us the Reverend Basil Hanson, founder and president of MTN TV. He's also the first vice president of the Association of Christian Communicators and Media. And we also have Dr. Anna Perkins, senior program officer of the Quality Assurance Unit, UWI Regional Headquarters. She's also the co-convener of Caribbean Women Theologians for Transformation. Good morning to you both.
Good morning, Rev. Thank you so much for having us.
Great.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Good to have you with us. Great. Now, what is your understanding? I'm trying to get a basis for our discussion. What is your understanding of why female constables of the JCF were referred to as women constables in the first place, and why the change is being made at this time? Reverend Hanson, what is your understanding?
All right, thanks for having me, Pastor. Women constable has been around for as long as I can remember myself. And it has never been an issue. It has never really been a problem, because a woman is a woman. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, right? I don't see anything wrong with it. I don't know why it was implemented, but the long and the short of it is that a woman is a woman, and we need to say that without fear or fear, because we are living in a time when we don't know a woman different from a man. And in some places you can't say a woman, you know. We see all kinds of changes taking place. And we want to neutralize gender. I want to put this on record that there's no such thing as gender neutral. There's no gender neutral. You're either a male or a female. God made man.
Yeah, before we go there, Reverend Hanson, just wanted to establish what is your understanding of why they started to use that terminology in the first place?
I think it's a bigger picture. I think it's a bigger picture, Reverend Toussaint. I think we are seeing some other things coming down the pipeline. If you look at what US is doing just now, they are implementing third gender called Gender X. And I think we are preparing for all of these things that are going to be coming. So we just want to make that very clear. That is a preparation for something bigger. And, you know, sometimes I sympathize with our leaders because, boy, they have to just do what certain countries tell them to do. But I think it's a bigger picture. It's not just removing women's constable, you know, but we see the fight going on for gender identity, gender neutrality, and all kinds of gender nonsense. So I think it's just a preparation for that.
Okay. Dr. Perkins, your take on that?
I'm not a conspiracy theorist, so I'm afraid I will not follow Reverend Hanson down the road of this whole conspiracy about agendas being imposed. What I
will not allow you to call me a conspiracy theorist, Reverend. No, miss. Please don't.
Reverend Hanson. Reverend Hanson. You're going to get a chance to respond. Go ahead, Dr. Perkins.
Respectfully. I don't agree, but I listen respectfully. So here's the point that I will make here. What the JCF is attempting to do is to remove gender markings from titles, from professional roles where the gender of the person has no relevance to the job that they're doing. Now you have to take account of it, not only in terms of what's happening progressively in the world around how we have come to understand gender and gender ideology, but we also have to take account of the history of the JCF. When the JCF started 1865 and so on, it was a totally male organization. And there was a clear understanding, according to the gender norms of that time, that law enforcement was a male profession. When they took the challenge of allowing women into the JCF, that was in 1949, only 75 years ago. And when they allowed it, they admitted 3 women right at the beginning, yeah? And they put those women in a special female unit. And you see a progressive move as they go along. For example, Javine Bent would have, when she entered the JCF in 1976, would have been among the first women to have actually trained with males, Yeah. So part of what the JCF is doing is saying, look, there's something symbolic that we need to do. And there's also something progressive that we need to do because we are an inclusive organization. We're not going to say that our organization is meant to be male dominated. It's an organization that's supposed to be inclusive of both male and female. And if we have a title, the only one that remains, and I noticed you pointed that out at the beginning, Reverend Toussaint, that the title only remains for a woman constable. Of what relevance is it to mark her as a woman constable? Yeah. So it's really simply, JCF, the JCF saying, look, guys, and part of why I love what they're doing, and I'll stop in a second because I know Reverend Hasley is chomping at the bit. Part of why I think there's an importance in what they're doing is because you can see that this is an organization,
Can you hear me?
but it's always trying to ensure that it functions in ways that are inclusive, yeah, that will be open to both men and women and people from marginalized spaces, including a lot of officers who are coming from lower income spaces and so on, when before, the spaces would have been dominated by people of other classes. So I don't see any agendas. I see a progressive organization that understands this space in the world and is giving us an opportunity to have this kind of dialogue, which is what we need to do.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Perkins. Can we take the break now? We're going to take a break right now. Be right back, ladies and gentlemen.
Follow the Ministry of Local Government and Community Development on Instagram and X at LocalGovJA. The time by the ministry is
7:46 a.m.
Follow the Ministry of Local Government.
A time to double up your savings. Double up the books that you're in a waiting. The dreams you've been chasing. Double up your savings. Double up.
Save so you can win in the Jan Bank Double Up Your Savings promotion. You could be one of 5 lucky quarterly winners to walk away with double the money you put in your savings account. Conditions apply.
Double up your savings.
Check our website and social media for details. Jan Bank will help you find a way. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act.
Music is the soundtrack of our daily lives. It drives business, it entertains, and we are that crucial link between the makers and users of music. We are Jams, representing local and international producers, labels, and performers, providing global coverage in the collection of airplay and public performance royalties for the best of the best in the music industry. We deliver results. We deliver royalties. Find us at jamsonline.com or call 876-978-1010. Jams, we stand up for music rights.
In life, the more you have to lose.
The more you love, the more you worry. The more you own, the less you sleep.
The more people rely on you, the more you have on your mind.
I have peace of mind,
knowing that whatever I own
and whoever I care about are covered by the very best.
With Sagicor Life and Advantage General, get life, health, and general insurance to help you protect what matters most.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. We have been discussing in this, the second watch, concerns about non-gender specific references in the JCF. And in so doing, we have online Dr. Anna Perkins, and we also have the Reverend Basil Hansen. Reverend Hansen, I know that you're listening intently to what Dr. Perkins had to say. Your comments, sir?
Yes, I first want to say that, having a different opinion or a different viewpoint don't make you a conspiracy theorist. And I would want to say to Dr. Perkins, not because somebody has a different viewpoint or a different thinking, they are a conspiracy theorist. You don't need to put a label on people when they have different opinion. You don't agree with me? That's it. We agree and we disagree. So I wanted to clear that up, that don't put any label on me, please. As I said, it doesn't matter how progressive we get. A man is a man and a woman is a woman. That cannot be changed. God made man and God made woman, and nobody can change that. And we won't accept any gender neutrality. We won't accept any gender X, because those things are nonsense. And it's sad that we have these people that lead us, that can tell us that you have gender neutrality. I believe the JCF is preparing the ground for something else, and I need to ask, our government, if this is what we believe, this is what we are about, because the JCF is not independent. It is a part of Jamaican's constitution. It is a part of Jamaica, and I want to ask, if I say woman constable, would I be penalized for that? Those are things that we need to iron out. It's more than just saying that, we're changing the gender neutral. We're putting everybody as constable. But what about if somebody say woman constable still? Would they be penalized? What is happening? What will happen at that point? We need to know all of those things. So it cannot be left like that.
Is it possible, Reverend Hanson, that the change does not have any hidden agenda, doesn't have any untoward reason behind it, except to say that they just want to say that if you're a constable, you're a constable, regardless of if you're male or female? Is that a possibility, Reverend Hanson?
It is a possibility, but it is also a possibility that it has hidden agenda also. So we have to be reasonable. We can't wait until it come upon us, Sometimes we become reactive when the thing has already gone through the gate. We are saying it has not been an issue for years because a woman is a woman. So whether it's a woman constable or constable, there's no issue with that. So the fact that the JCF have more serious problem than that. And we're not trying to address those serious issues. We're going into some trivialities. A woman constable. What is that? You're a woman. Okay. So if you're a woman, you should not feel offended. When you say they're trying to say birthing people, chest feeding, are those degrading women? What are those? I don't know of any chest feeding. We know of woman breastfeeding. Now they're trying to change all of that and say we can now have chest feeding. We can now have birthing people. I am not calling no woman no birthing people. You're a woman created in the image of God and in the likeness of God. And we need to stand for that. And we are not conspiracy theorists. And we are not haters or bigots. We are just standing up for what God created in our heart. Man and woman. And we will not change that.
This morning. A massacre.
Okay.
A massacre.
No, you don't mash icon.
I will only say that I can't follow Reverend Hanson down the road because what he's doing is mischaracterizing the issues. And because he's mischaracterizing the issues, it's not possible to have a conversation with him where he will even agree as to what the issues are. What I'm simply saying is that it's not an issue about gender neutrality. What you're talking about is gender neutral language and the use of language in ways that marks gender that has no relevance to a professional role. That's what the JCF is saying.
All the relevance. We have male and female. We don't have men being women and women being men. You can't change that. God made that.
You're change that. I'm simply explaining my understanding of what the JCF says they're doing and why, and putting it in the larger context of a progressive understanding of language and gender ideologies and gender norms, which we know are a part of how we live in the world as human beings, and that how we understand and how we critically appreciate our humanity will change over time. I'm not going into any kind of you don't like conspiracy theory, so let me not say that, but I will not go into any arguments about agendas of
but in order for you to propagate what you want, you have to label us. You have to label those of us who think different, and those who are independent thinkers.
Okay, thank you both. Thank you both. Dr. Perkins.
Yes.
Is it a possibility that behind all of this there is something there that will be focusing on gender neutrality in essence? Isn't that a possibility? I think that is where Reverend Hanson is
I will make the distinction between how Reverend Hanson responded to you and how I'm going to respond to you, right? He said there's a possibility, and then he runs into giving you his understanding, and this is what it is, right?
Mm-hmm,
I'm
mm-hmm.
in no position to say that there is an agenda behind it that
Right.
goes in the direction of suggesting that we're going to move into spaces where you're going to say, in terms of how he and others are presenting gender neutrality, which is suggesting that there is no gender, right? And of course, what you're recognizing is that, first of all, gender is a socially constructed way of viewing the human person. We make decisions about what a woman should look like, how she should behave, how she should speak, how she should self present. I've bought into those gender norms. Look at how I self present this morning, right? Because I have an understanding that a woman should look a certain way because I've been shaped in a social space that said a woman needs to look like this. But then also in the social space, the ways of presenting as female and male are always changing and in flux. So there was a time a man in Jamaica couldn't wear his hair long, couldn't plait it up, couldn't wear a pink shirt. But now men can do all of that because we're challenging gender norms because we recognize them to be socially constructed. And so there are always going to be arguments about what gender means and how gender should present in any society and any space. So there's always going to be movements around meaning, and that's to be accepted. What we're not trying to do is to retrench and hold on and say this is the only way of being woman and this is the only way of being male. Because listen, that train gone a long time.
Okay. Reverend Hansen?
Yes.
Go ahead, sir.
I mean, a woman is a woman, as we say, and a man is a man, and we can't go around it. We can't go over it. God made man and God made woman. We did not make ourselves. And so the God who made us define us. And he defined woman a particular way, and he defined man a particular way. We are not going to allow you to tell us that we have 50 or 60 gender nonsense. That's nonsense.
It's not your purview alone to make that.
People are talking nonsense, and we don't need to listen to it. It's nonsense.
All of us are in this conversation. All of us are in this conversation.
I don't know how we. I don't know how we got here. How did we get here to tell me now a woman wants to look like a man and a man must look like a woman? We are confused.
People who have both male and female characteristics. So what we're gonna do with them people, the boss? What we're gonna do with them?
We are confused. God made two genders, man and woman, and we're not going to change that.
Intersex people.
That have their business, man and woman.
And female.
That's what God made. You have intersex, you have sex this, you have sex that.
You're going to say
it's confusion.
Confusion
is help you need.
Come on, Red, talk to me. You have to go in that direction because what you say, this
what is gender X? Can you tell me what is gender X?
Don't work.
What is gender X? Tell us what is gender X.
Trying to harken back to
Doctor, tell us what is gender X, doctor. We would love to know what is gender X.
Gender I don't know X. What you're talking about, brethren. You have more knowledge about
the US is implementing gender X right now.
What you talking about?
Yes, read it. The US is implementing a new gender called gender X. What is that?
Listen,
confusion, man.
You heard about what them people are doing over there, and
those of us who don't go with the foolishness, those of us who are independent thinkers, you call us conspiracy theories. Well, we are not afraid of conspiracy theories. We will continue to say God made man and God made woman, and that is what we believe, and we live our lives like that. Nothing else. Everything else is from Satan himself.
I can't help you with that, my brother. I can't help you with that. I bless you, and I think that you're entitled to your opinion. I'm entitled to that. Many of us are entitled to it. What I will say is that all of us, have the opportunity, and in fact, we have the right to be involved in this conversation around how we define gender and gender norms. And what we are saying,
right? And we don't need to call each other conspiracy theories like you did.
You don't need
and you don't need to call me a conspiracy theorist because I think different from you.
We're going to function in a space that's diverse and gender inclusive, so that women are not discriminated against, so that because you hear that a woman countable come in, then you're going to treat her in a different way. You just listen to a countable come in. He's just as capable of doing the job of any male countable. Why don't we mark the job and say male countable and woman countable, or man countable or woman countable? Why must we only mark the female?
Woman is still a woman. No matter how you try to put it, a woman is still a woman. So whether it's a woman constable or constable, it's still a woman.
Nothing to do with it.
Thank
Right,
you.
come on.
If you can't hear me, thank you. Roll the show. Look, I hope you can see me on the screen. Roll it. All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Perkins and Reverend Anson. I will say, let's get ready for Toronto.
Thank you, Doc. Thank you. We this is not going to go away anytime soon. It's going to get worse. And these people want to tell us that we have 50 genders. Nonsense. And we're not listening to you guys.
This has been the Morning Watch. Thanks to producer Kathy Gale and our guests. I'm Dylan Toussaint. And you're back to Love in the Morning with Kareem.